"Oh, it's okay, little infant, do not cry." This boy Luke receives bullied at faculty through a organization of thugs. What they do not know is that Luke's brother David, a recently retired unique forces soldier, is looking over him. "I need you to expose me who hit you the day before today. What are you going to do?" Whilst David unearths out what has been taking place, he asks Luke to factor out the ones accountable. "Deliver me a tough time." Decided to train them a lesson, David takes Luke to comply with the bullies to a bar. David calls over the bartender and orders a fireball cocktail packed with chili peppers. Then for every of the bullies' girlfriends he orders a drink as nicely pictures for the women and a cosmopolitan for every of the guys. Sensing the provocation, one of the thugs storms over. "I do not need it, ale, even though you will have it," in jesting arms, and throws it in David's face. David simply smiles and returns the want with a fiery cocktail. In terms of folks that harm his little brother, David would not keep back. Every of them takes a heavy blow for the damages. After leaving coins to cowl the damages, he walks out with Luke. However, no person is aware of that. David isn't without a doubt Luke's brother. He is the former comrade of Luke's actual brother. Tragedy hit Luke's own circle of relatives. Tough weeks in the past. His brother died in fight after the loss of their eldest son Caleb. With inside the conflict, the Peterson-owned circle of relatives, Spencer, his spouse Laura, and their youngsters Luke and Anna are suffering to manage. One morning Laura is visible drowning in sorrow after Spencer and Luke head out of the residence. Suddenly, a apparently well-mannered and composed man arrives at their doorstep. Laura is taken aback whilst he addresses her through her name, reputedly privy to who she is. "I knew your son Caleb, and we skilled collectively and served collectively and are nicely. We got here to be excellent buddies." The person introduces himself as David Collins, a former U.S. Army sergeant, and claims he turned into Caleb's closest pal for the duration of their service. Laura then invitations David into their home and gives him a drink, albeit to experience of suspicion. Nevertheless, lingering on her thoughts, he keeps to give an explanation for that. He had spent numerous months convalescing in a military medical institution because of an damage and got here over proper after being discharged. "I used to be with him whilst he died. One of the matters he requested turned into for me to test on you all. He desired me to inform you that he cherished you." Crushed with unhappiness, Laura excuses herself to apply the washroom, in which she sobs uncontrollably. Upon returning to the dwelling room, David suggests her a photo of Caleb's deployment. Laura's previous doubts approximately him vanish into skinny air. Immediately noticing the saddened expression on Laura's face, David speedy places on an apologetic facade and pretends to be leaving. "I in all likelihood should have referred to as first. However, I'm going to be on my manner now." But Laura persuades him to live via way of means of insisting that Anna would need to satisfy him. Heat and respectful David speedy earns Laura's belief, even though Anna stays cautious. Upon listening to his plans to live at a neighborhood lodge, Laura offers David a room of their domestic for as long as he desires. "In reality, you could live in Caleb's vintage room, we insist." After Anna leaves for paintings, Laura suggests David to his visitor room. She reassures him that she does now no longer thoughts him the usage of Caleb's room and leaves him to get settled in as quickly as she is long gone. David is visible carrying an unreadable expression. In the meantime, Luke is careworn via way of means of bullies at college, however does now no longer have the center to retaliate. He places on an detached disposition while Laura choices him up from college, performing as ale. Even though not anything passed off how become your day, it become appropriate exceptional. As David settles in, he speedy entails himself in the Petersons, lives lower back at domestic. Luke gets to recognize David at the same time as Spencer is heard arguing with Laura for letting an intended stranger into their domestic. "You recognize what if he has the PTSD or anything?" It is referred to as a number of those guys come lower back with intellectual fitness problems. Laura he's involved that the soldier's pleasant demeanor mask a darker volatile aspect regularly visible in veterans affected by PTSD. In the meantime, David notices the bruises on Luke's face inflicted via way of means of bullies at college. However, the latter shrugs it off casually. Yeah, I were given hit with a soccer in health club gymnasium class." After having a quick trade with David, Spencer storms off in rage and Laura urges Luke to do his homework. David praises Luke for his mind as he allows the boy together along with his homework, making him experience flattered. "So you are type of clever, high I wager." So quickly Anna returns domestic from paintings, however stays bloodless in the direction of David. Then again Spencer's mindset in the direction of their visitor has obviously previously modified for the higher past due. At night time the duo stocks a deep conversation over beer and a soccer sport as Spencer unwittingly pours his coronary heart out to David. The latter learns that he's facing finance and activity associated pressure. It has only been there for like 4 years. However, he's were given a diploma so increase abruptly. His nearby supervisor Spencer is unsatisfied that his younger colleague who has best joined the enterprise for a quick time is the only promoted to nearby supervisor as opposed to him simply due to the fact he doesn't have a diploma. Laura's concerns approximately their price range aggravates the situation. In addition, while David well-known shows his plan to tour to Florida and paintings in creation, Spencer at once objects to it and asks him to extend his life with them. It truly is loopy. You do not know wherein you are going, live right here for a couple greater days via way of means of. Then Spencer has begun out to take a liking in the direction of David. Even as the older guy receives himself another beer, the expression on David's face darkens. It did now no longer take lengthy before David have become a supportive discern with inside the own circle of relatives. He even is going to select out up Luke from faculty on Laura's behalf and solves his huge hassle of faculty bullying, earning Luke's entire agree with. On the alternative hand, David's bond with Anna is great. A complex that nighttime Laura forces Anna to take David together along with her to a Halloween celebration. Even as getting geared up for the celebration, Anna assumes Luke is occupying the washroom and urges him to return back. Out. Best to return back head to head with the half-bear David bowled over via way of means of his perfect discern. She stutters, blushing uncontrollably even though reluctant. Anna brings David alongside to the celebration hosted via way of means of her pal Kristen. While she well-known shows that she has a boyfriend Zeke, he guarantees to maintain it a mystery between them. I might not say something, it is none of my enterprise. David speedy impresses her buddies together along with his proper appears. Even as Anna sneaks away with Zeke, Anna's pal Kristen is accosted via way of means of her aggressive ex-boyfriend Drew. David intervenes and protects her via way of means of beating up Drew. Let's get him out of right here. Inspired via way of means of him, Kristen later sleeps with David blind to his darkish facet. At some point of the celebration, David additionally inquires approximately buying firearms from Anna's pal Craig while requested why he wanted it. I'm a soldier guy, I really like weapons. He then notices that Anna and Zeke are within inside the midst of a fight. Certainly in a horrific temper, Anna makes a decision to depart early and David takes the initiative to take the wheel at the ride. Domestic Anna expresses frustration approximately her boyfriend Zeke's loss of ambition. Even as she has been saving for university, he simply isn't always shifting on. I suggest he doesn't actually have an activity. David flatters her, pronouncing he could now no longer have long passed to battle if he had a woman like her. Hell, if I had a woman such as you. Lower back. Domestic, I could have long passed over to the Middle East to get shot at. Touched, she gives to make him a mix CD while he expresses hobby in a song at the radio. Upon returning, Domestic Anna receives immersed in tune and her thoughts as she creates the combination CD for David as promised. Unbeknownst to her, the person is sitting immobile in his room with a grim, nearly scary appearance on his face. The equal day Anna by chance overhears David having an extreme telecell smartphone communique with an unknown caller. The use of Luke's telecell smartphone, he appears to be disturbing a brand new face from a person suspected to be a plastic surgeon. I'm sure as quickly as feasible I am off the grid for now. However, there are people looking to search for me. It can be heard from the communique that a person is going after him. Feeling suspicious, Anna contacts the army base for more data to affirm his identification. Yeah, his call is David Anderson Collins. I can let you know the unit that he served in if that allows. This telecell smartphone name triggers an alert at a personal army contractor referred to as KPG. It seems David is the take a look at difficulty of army become assumed lifeless, primarily based totally at the army information. Major Richard Carver, the pinnacle of the project, assembles a unique forces group upon understanding that David is with the Petersons and heads to his area. Book me at the subsequent flight if we want to charter something. Do it, and I'm going to want a few shooters quickly. After David David meets up with Craig and his companion to shop for guns. Upon confirming that David has added coins with him, Craig's associate eagerly introduces the firearms he added. This I imply it is a General Beretta. I am sure you are acquainted with it. For my part, if you have visible the sort of you have visible all of them. David then proclaims that he will take in all the gadgets, which delights the opposite. The coolest information but did now no longer remaining lengthy for them. I'll reduce you a deal. You could take all of them off my palms. No, I'm going to kill you without blinking a watch. David murders each guys with a handgun earlier than stealing their guns and grenades. Meanwhile, Anna gets updates from the army base approximately David and attempts to inform Laura approximately it, however is interrupted via way of means of Spencer's go back. It involves mild that Spencer's boss and female friend have died under mysterious situations. They each taken a gaggle of prescription capsules. It become like they devoted suicide collectively or something. Paradoxically, this supposed tragedy paved the manner for Spencer's surprising advertising and revenue enhance. Quickly Anna gets a terrible information via a telephone smartphone name from Zeke telling her that Craig has been murdered. Beaten with shock, Anna heads to the eating place where Kristen works to are seeking solace. Lower back at domestic, David and Luke take a seat down out at the porch to carve pumpkins for Halloween. David unearths their kitchen knife blunt and forks out his very own Swiss Army knife, reducing through the pumpkin in a single swift movement. Do you convey that with you like all of the time, or this aspect positive? At the eating place, Anna stocks with Kristen the surprising facts she obtained from the Navy. They advised me that David Collins died per week in the past. David Collins supposedly died per week in the past. His demise due to a hearth place in a Navy hospital in Arizona. Those worrying coincidences construct Anna's suspicions similarly, and Kristen shows she asks Luke to appearance up the numbers David has referred to as on his burner with the pumpkins carved up. David and Luke get lower back with inside the residence. The former encourages Luke to protect himself towards the bullies through bringing a knife to high school. They take it off you and beat you up. You cross around their homes at night time and burn them down with their household's interior. What is the worst they can do? He then items Luke a Swiss Army knife proper. Then Anna returns home pretending as ill even though not anything happened, casually placing up a verbal exchange. As she walks beyond them, Anna discreetly choices up David's telephone smartphone while they may be now no longer searching and quick retreats to her room. She then activates a few loud tune and snaps a pictograph of the telephone smartphone numbers in the decision records. At that second, David's telephone smartphone all at once rings, throwing Anna into a nation of panic. Now no longer trying to get stuck, she unexpectedly tosses the telephone smartphone onto the mattress in David's room earlier than rushing lower back to her room. Nearly immediately David seems with inside the hallway with a grim expression tracing the diffused telephone smartphone ring. He marches to his room and choices up the telephone smartphone as a deep-seated suspicion rises in him. David lingers out of doors Anna's room and try and eavesdrop, however all he hears is loud tune blasting through their door, preserving her breath at the back of the door the complete time. Anna most effective we cut down her shield while he ultimately leaves. Now no longer long later she gets a name from Zeke, who is being detained through the government. It seems that he's convicted of killing Craig and his companion because the gun used with inside the killing become determined in his van. However, you are harmless. Then they seek my room and that they determined a few different stuff packed with depression. Anna feels that the sect around her is collapsing and all of it starts evolved with David's look. Anna confides in her own circle of relatives and Ale even though her mom stocks her sorrow. Spencer is particularly dismissive. You need to recognize why Zeke changed into arrested for homicide due to the fact he probably did it. It truly is why he changed into already disapproving of Zeke initially, which is why she saved their courting in the shadows, because the combat among their father and daughter receives excessive. Anna well known shows what she observed out approximately David from the army referred to as the army base that he stated he changed into from, and they informed me he changed into lifeless. However, the man justifies her suspicions lightly, so this army intelligence for you through explaining that he changed into from a special forces unit and that the army gave her a cowl tale for civilians, having stated that he fishes out his army call tags to show his identity. Satisfied through David's phrases, Spencer is infuriated through Anna's accusations and needs that she express regret to him. Anna Peterson you owe him an apology right now. You watch your mouth. Younger girl in a rage. Anna cusses at her father and storms off to her room, feigning innocence. David keeps to provide an explanation for the false impression to the Petersons couple. Even as Anna sits in contemplation, she is interrupted through David's sudden look. Bowled over, she freezes in terror, looking forward to adversarial conduct from him at the start. David starts evolved in a gentle way. I simply need to mention how sorry I am. Approximately Craig. He guarantees to transport on from their residence in some days, hinting at Anna to prevent poking her nostril into his enterprise. Okay, his excessive eyes constant on Anna till she eventually is of the same opinion. Okay, even as leaving, David's interest is stuck through the blended CD Anna made for him as ale. Even though not anything occurred, he places on a superficial cheery facade. Thanks, I cannot wait to concentrate to it. Meanwhile, Richard heads off to the airport, even as assembling a crew for his task to seize David. I need each contractor inside 100-mile radius, and I want a crew mobilized by the point I land. As Anna digs deeper, she discovers the usage of the opposite listing that David had been calling a plastic healthcare provider in Miami named Peter Boddington, whose license changed into revoked 2 years in the past. She requested Luke to assist find greater records on David. You genuinely assume David killed Craig and that different man, despite the fact that Luke is still having reservations. Approximately Anna's suspicions. He is of the same opinion to assist her, though whilst Luke is attacked again at college, he fights again via way of means of punching the bully with inside the face and hitting him with a backyard stick. When they each dispatched to the primary's workplace, David arrives with Laura to speak to the primary. David is thrilled to discover that Luke took up his recommendation and fought again whilst he was bullied because of the college's policy towards violence. The primary decides to expel Luke, a homosexual pupil targeted with bodily violence. In the end, defends himself and you are what postponing him. The usage of his brief wit and understanding of law. David blackmails the college primary into going clean on Luke, coercing him to handiest deliver the boy a month of detention. Feeling indebted, Luke tells David of Anna's suspicions and her plans to document him to the government. She thinks you killed Craig and she's attempting to make a case to the police so that you can permit her boyfriend pass. In the beginning, David shrugs it off casually. However, whilst Luke, well known, shows that he is aware of David is impersonating the real Collins with the assist of the plastic physician, his expression turns grim immediately. That's boss too right. Although Luke guarantees now no longer to look into any similarly or inform everyone else. I am now no longer going to inform everyone. Approximately it, and no one will agree with Anna. She does not have something towards you. David additionally reveals out that Anna has told Kristen approximately him whilst David is helping Laura with laundry. She expresses her heartfelt gratitude for his assist and aid to the family. The entirety. I am virtually thankful. David responds with moderate unease and is going to retrieve the relaxation of the laundry. The reality comes out in a violent conflict whilst Richard and his crew arrive on the Peterson domestic. Before Richard has to threat to provide an explanation for the state of affairs to Laura, David reappears with the laundry and each events immediately have interaction in an excessive shootout together. Along with his leg injured, David tries to make an getaway, however encounters Laura in the kitchen whilst she questions his real identification. He well known shows that he and Caleb have been with inside the equal software. Hiding the knife in his hand, David is having second mind, approximately killing Laura, but she exposes his vicinity without warning, prompting David to stab her with inside the chest with the kitchen knife via way of means of. Then David has slaughtered each member of the crew besides Richard. Riding away, he runs into Spencer. I am virtually sorry. Approximately this, sir. Injured throughout the disagreement, David maintains his venture to remove all three ends together along with his vehicle. Tires flatten. Richard borrows a civilian's vehicle to pick up Anna from the diner. Now no longer lengthy after their departure, David arrives on the identical diner to search for Anna, however to no avail. Pissed off, he proceeds to kill Kristen via way of means of taking pictures her with inside the chest and blows up the diner with grenades. After receiving a name, Richard makes the decision to go search for Luke. He well known shows that David changed into a player in a Pinnacle Mystery military clinical software, a sophisticated behavioral conditioning software designed to create ideal infantrymen. David escaped after placing the Czech facility ablaze, killing all and sundry interior and leaving behind charred unidentifiable bodies so that the arena might agree with. He changed into lifeless at the college's activity middle. Lucas Lucas serving after college detention via way of means of assisting out with promenade arrangements. He's approximately to reply Anna's name while the instructor warns him in opposition to the use of phones in the course of detection and confiscates his Telecel smartphone at the manor to the activity middle. Anna and Richard word police vehicles and half-place vans going with inside the contrary path. Handiest then does Richard inform her approximately the incident at the diner. Any individual attacked her diner proper. When we left it changed into known as an explosion. An ominous feeling arises in Anna. Wait, wherein are my parents? They may be each lifeless. Richard is going on to give an explanation for David's neurological conditioning that protects him and the test. While the test failed, David have become a programmed killer, getting rid of absolutely each person who would possibly compromise his identification. He's not going to stop himself, even supposing he desires to. Quickly Anna and Richard arrive on the college wherein a Halloween dance is underway. Interior a haunted residence set up. As quickly as they get to Luke, David pronounces his presence via way of means of reducing off the energy. He then plays Anna's blended CD over the audio system as he starts evolved his very last rampage. Amid the confusion and flickering lighting, David kills Luke's instructor and Richard with a container cutter. In the beginning Luke refuses to agree with that. David is as sinister as Anna claims, even suggesting that they go speak to him what is taking place. However, David would not harm us, but his presumptions approximately David's shatter while she tells him approximately their parents' death. He killed mum and dad. After making sure Luke is properly hidden, Anna is going off on her personal to locate David, now showing his proper hues. David searches for Luke to be able to kill him. Come on out, buddy, I am now no longer going to harm you. Simply while Luke thinks he is approximately to get stuck, David receives distracted via way of means of a few noise from afar. He follows a blood path from the spot where Richard's gun have been and finds Anna's status at the back of him. You killed my mother and father. Eager to avenge her mother and father, she fires the gun at David, who collapses to the floor, assuming she were given him for good. Anna weaker down her protect handiest to get stabbed with inside the leg. With the aid of using David in a marvelous ult, she tries to shoot him, however the gun misfires and sparks a half place. David then proceeds to strangle her in a very last act of braveness. Luke intervenes and stabs David with the knife David had given him, liberating Anna wounded. David tells Luke he did the proper component and offers a thumbs up earlier than collapsing to the floor with inside the aftermath. Anna and Luke take a seat down out of doors in an ambulance, bloodied and shell-shocked.